You had an incident when you were practicing driving. This is one of my favorite stories, right?
Oh, I have a lot of incidents.
Yeah, but the one that I'm not talking about.
Yeah.
Help us help you. Please tell the story.
Okay. So I grew up in the pavement jungle, okay? The city. There are no back roads. There are no fields. There's none of that. So when I was 15, about to take driver's training, I had never driven a second anywhere. So it was a Sunday night, and we had a Sunday school party at someone's house, an adult party.
So is this literally the first time you've ever driven a vehicle?
First time.
Oh, this is outstanding. Oh, keep going.
And so after the party, it was in the summer, so my dad's like, hey, we're going to go over to 12 Mile in Van Dyke. There's a strip mall over there, and it's 9 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night, something like that. And I just want you to practice driving in the family minivan.
So no one will be there.
No one
Nothing
will be
to
there.
hit.
Nobody will be there. Nobody will be there.
Yeah.
So I'm not one of those guys that ever says, I don't know what happened, man. But this is one of those, I don't know what happened, man.
I'm not one of those guys, but I'm one of those guys.
Yeah, so I'm driving my parents' minivan. My sister's in the back. My mom's in the back. My dad's in the front. And I'm just doing circles.
Oh, no, your whole family's there?
The whole family's there.
Oh,
well, my brother's not around yet, but
well,
yes. The whole family. And so I'm just practicing doing circles in the parking lot. That's all that I'm doing. And something happened. I think a demon got inside my brain or something. I don't know what happened. And
it wasn't your fault. It could never be John's fault. No.
And I lost control of my parents' minivan. And I drove it.
So you don't know what happened. You weren't like scared by a squirrel or like you just hit the gas?
I hit the gas and drove my parents' minivan into Belle Tire.
Okay, hold on. Because that's beautiful. You drove it into Belle Tire, which makes me think of the old woman from Discount Tire says, if you don't like the tires, give it back and chuck it through the window. Yeah. So that's going through. But you missed a spot. You can't say you didn't know what happened. Something.
I don't know what happened.
You're doing circles and you're coasting?
I'm just
like you're tapping the gas?
Yes.
And maybe you meant to hit the brake and you just punched the... Why were you close to the building?
I don't know. And there are pillars on every side, so it's a miracle that we survived it. And so I drove between the pillars.
So you hit Belle Tire, the building.
I ran through the plate glass window.
Like, you're
in the store. So there's the minivan, and there's
inside
cash
the store with new tires.
Right next to each other.
You hit the cash registers.
I was right next to him. I drove through the window.
Like you could have checked yourself out.
I drove, yes. I drove through the window into the store. My mom is screaming.
You sure?
My sister's crying. My dad's just making sure we're alive at this point.
Yes, and the therapy bills, I bet.
This did happen. Yes. Yes.
Oh, this is so. Oh, I'm actually. Oh, I got to get the tear. Oh, that's a gem. So, like, did you want to drive after that?
No. No.
You're like, okay, the first time I did it was a massive failure. We're just going to move on.
Yes.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was rough. I was a rough driver early on.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And and you said you had a second one, and something about Banana Boat, which is a ice cream place that we have around here.
Yeah.
All right. Imagine that. It was about food. I knew we were going to get there.
So a week ago, my daughter had her very last band concert at Davison High School. That's where she attends. She plays the flute in the band, and she also plays the keyboard in our youth band in our church. And so after the concert, we're like, let's go get ice cream. So where do you go to get ice cream? You go to Banana Boat on Davison Road.
Soft serve with the...
I mean, they give you buckets of ice cream.
Yeah. You can hear yourself getting fatter while
it's like it's like the Tony's of ice cream, basically, from Birch Run.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I think there's bacon for one of those, actually.
Yeah. And so we get there. But here's the thing. My wife always mocks me about this because when I get ice cream, I like to get bananas and strawberries ice cream.
And she should mock you, just for the record.
She should not mock.
I'm on her side. I've been there. I've seen it. Okay.
So she's always about chocolate and marshmallow and, cookies and cream and Reese's and all. And I like that stuff too. But I just love bananas and strawberries
So
in my ice cream in a mixer or a Blizzard. And the thing is, it's called Banana Boat. Okay, Banana Boat. So we're in there. We're in there and we're about to order, and she's making fun of me. Oh, what are you going to get? Bananas and strawberries. She's making fun of me. She's like, you're not even a man. All you like is bananas and strawberries. She doesn't say that, but it was kind of going
That's just your interpretation that you're not a man because she's mocking you.
It's kind of going that way. She looks at the girl at the cash register, and she's like, isn't that pathetic? He wants bananas and strawberries, ice cream. I mean, and the lady looks at me, and she's like this, and I'm like, don't you say nothing. And so I was a youth pastor for 17 years.
Yeah.
And I worked with adolescents forever, junior hires forever. So in my greatest junior high voice, I look at my wife and I'm like, shut up. Just like that, shut up. And we tease and joke around a lot.
Yeah.
So I tell her to shut up. And I look out of the corner of my eye and there's this couple staring at us. I mean, they saw me tell my wife to shut up and they're staring at us. So I look at them and I'm like, you guys, we're just playing. It's just all fun. I'm just having a good time. It's all fun. And the lady looks at me and she's like, aren't you the pastor of Emmanuel?
I knew that was coming. Oh, God. That is so great.
And I had never seen this lady a second of my life. And so you're like, well, what did you say? And I'm like, you got the wrong guy.
I get that a lot. He's a lot chubbier than I am.
Yeah, so that happened a week ago.
That's awesome. Because we had that incident of the soccer game, that one that I went to. Your son is like, actually, I'm...
Yeah.
I find that so awesome, right? Because it's like once somebody knows you have a position in ministry, you're not allowed to have, you can't get passionate at games. You can't get frustrated with people. You're not allowed to, make fun or be somebody with your wife. My favorite thing about your wife was when we were at that Christmas function where you got me that really great present, which worked out well for me on my dad in the end. And because this is a story I'm telling. Because you're a jerk, And so he has me in the group, which I'm not a group guy. And so everybody gets Christmas presents. And you get what? What was that thing called? The cool meter? What was that stupid thing?
The head thing?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like the cool meter. So you have to put
it was like this helmet that had this
giant
propeller on it.
Stick.
Yeah.
And what it was is
looked like a Martian.
Someone would have to poke you, and you had to remain cool. You couldn't get calm, and it could tell if you were getting frustrated, and it would start to go up. And it had this giant. It was like green, and then yellow, and then red, right?
Yeah.
And it's not working. So he makes the time to get this thing to work, which is hilarious because it took forever because he was bound and determined. We finally get it done, and of course, his whole function is try to make me not look cool, and you don't look cool with this giant thing on, with this giant thing sticking up that's blinking, and whoop.
You should have wore that today.
So, me being who I am, I was like, okay, you got me. That was funny. Touché. I was like, I'm going to wear that to church. And he was like, you're not. And I was like, and at that moment, when you're like, you're not, I was like, oh, I'm doing it, right? And my wife was like, honey, you're not going to do that. I'm like, oh, I am. So I waited. I tested the waters. And so there was two services, one in the morning and one, traditional, older group, and then younger group. And the younger group would have thought it was funny. So that was not the place to do it because it needed to be as awkward as possible. So he comes walking in, and I put this helmet on with the thing, and I didn't turn it on, which I thought about doing because it would have been like, whoop, 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 right? And we're sitting there. And I'm going to paraphrase what the lady said. But we're sitting there, and I have this thing on with the dumbest grin I can get. So John walks out. He walks out on the stage, and he's like, oh, my God. And he looks down like this, and he's debating whether or not he's going to say anything. And I knew he had to take into account the crowd, right? I knew you had to. And so you decided not to say anything, which made it better because I wasn't taking it off. And my wife's elbowing me, stop that. And there's a lady over to my left, and I can't see out of my left eye. And I'm paraphrasing what she said. She's like, what the heck is going on right now? Right. And they're looking at me like, what is happening? Because I'm sitting there with this giant thing that you gave
This
me.
Martian helmet.
Right. I look like like the retarded version of Marvin Martian's cousin. Right. And so, but you can't make fun of disabled people, and I'm disabled. So there you go. And we finished. That was hilarious because your face was priceless. Because you wanted so bad, and you're sitting there, and you're making a point not to look at me, and I was just, it was so much. This is the kind of fun. This is the type of person that I want to explain to people. So
I blew that, man. I should have been like, we need an usher right now.
Security. Yeah. So
that was funny.
That was super fun, right?
Yeah.